In today's video, we're going to be focusing on Rabbi Yoel Sirkis, better known as the Bach. Uh, he was known as the Bach because that was the acronym of his main sefer called Bayis Chadash. The acronym is the Bach, so that's how he becomes known. He was born in approximately the year 1580 and passed away in the year 1640. He was born in the city of Lublin, and he studied by and that's in Poland. He studied by Rabbi Tzvi Shor, who was a student of the Ramah, Rabbi Moshe Isserlis, who we spoke about previously. Rabbi Isserlis, as we spoke about, became the most prominent Ashkenazi Halachic decisor with the writing of his commentary or addendum, if you want to say, to the Shulchan Aruch, to the Code of Jewish Law. It seems for this reason, because of his kind of Masorah, his tradition that he received from his students, from his teachers. His teacher, as we said, was a student of the Ramah. It seems that people took him extremely seriously in his. I would say that's one of the reasons why he's taken extremely seriously is that he learned by students of the Ramah. Eventually, he bounced around the different areas of Poland. Eventually, he becomes the rabbi in Krakow, probably in his 40s or 50s. And he after being very poor, a very poor person, it seems that he actually made a little bit of money as the rabbi of Krakow, and he actually passed away a relatively wealthy man. He was given many gifts and honored very much. So it seems that's how he made his fortune. Small fortune, at least. So let's get into his commentary. So the Bach, the Bayis Chadash, is a commentary on the Torah. We mentioned the Torah previously. The Torah is the first one to codify the Code of Jewish Law the way we know it today into 4 sections. He was the son of the Rosh. And the Torah is a little bit more explanatory, explains a little bit more than the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch, written by Rabbi Yosef Karo a couple generations later, is written in a more very concise, more like a Maimonidean style of extremely concise halachas. And it seems that the Bach did not like the use of the Shulchan Aruch, even though by his generation, about 2 generations later, or 1.5 generations later, the Shulchan Aruch became the most accepted Jewish code till this day. It seems that he did not approve of that. He felt that because of the fact that the halachas in the laws of the Shulchan Aruch are written so concise that it was impossible to make any rulings from the Shulchan Aruch. Now, as we discussed previously, the Shulchan Aruch was meant as a kind of companion's book to the Beis Yosef, which was a commentary on the Torah, which long form explained how he came to the conclusions of his rulings, and the Shulchan Aruch were the rulings themselves. But the Bach felt that because the Shulchan Aruch was so widely accepted, he did not appreciate that. So he wrote his commentary on the Torah. Now, even though that did not end up becoming the Shulchan Aruch was accepted, and some rabbis of his day said, that the Shulchan Aruch is like the Torah of Moses, and we can't deviate from the Shulchan Aruch. He did not hold of that, but in the end of the day, his rulings were preserved, as many of the commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch, as we will see, quote him extensively and bring his rulings, even though they were written as a companion to the Torah. All the commentaries in the Shulchan Aruch take him very seriously. I just wanted to go back for a second. I forgot to mention about his name, Rabbi Yoel Sirkis. Apparently his name was Jaffe. He was a cousin of the famous Rabbi Mordechai Jaffe, the Levush. The reason he took the name Sirkis, it seems that it was some sort of childhood nickname, or as a young man, a nickname that he got either from his mother, whose name was Sarah. So it seems that it was something like the effect of Rabbi Yoel, the daughter of the son of the son of Sarah, so like belonging to Sarah, Sirkis. It could be also that his mother-in-law's name was Sarah, and that's where the name came from. At any rate, I just wanted to point it out before we get back to his book. Okay, so in his book, the Bach, he has a very interesting ruling. Some people think of him as more of a lenient person. I'm not sure if that's so accurate. He definitely did not feel that it was appropriate to be stringent on other people's accounts. Some stringencies that he brings, he clearly says this is only thing that somebody should do privately, should not push it on other people. In addition, he also had a very interesting view on Kabbalistic practices. Rabbi Yoel was a very, very well-versed Kabbalist in his own right. He understood Kabbalah as the word of God, and this was a very important part of the Torah. And even though it does not seem that he wrote any books of Kabbalah, nonetheless, he seems to take kind of a middle road as far as Kabbalah, and he accepts many Kabbalistic practices. However, this becomes kind of the next, I guess, the next kind of thing that the rabbis of those generations are dealing with is, what do we do when halacha, the Jewish law based on the Talmud, contradicts Kabbalah, the Zohar, and other Kabbalistic sources? And he takes the view very clearly that we should always follow the Talmud and the Talmudic sources and the poskim, the deciding rabbis, and not follow the Zohar. But he does adapt many, like we said, Kabbalistic practices, but none that are in contradiction to halacha. For example, putting out tefillin during Chol HaMoed, during the intermediate days of Passover and Sukkot. The Kabbalists were very against it, and the halachic decisors were very pro. And he takes the opinion that we should follow the halachic decisors and the rabbis who studied the Talmud, and he said that Ashkenazi Jews should put on tefillin. Just as a small example. He also had a very discerning eye for language and grammar, and because of this, he ends up writing a book called Hagaos, which were glosses on the Talmud and other sources. And he basically was kind of sifting through many of the versions of the Talmud of his day, and in most Talmuds today, you'll see Hagaos HaBach, which means the glosses of the Bach, and he will say, okay, the word actually here, based on his research or his discerning eye for correct language, is like this and not like that, and it's very, very interesting how he had this discerning eye for language. And in fact, he similarly in the midrashic sources, he took again of a very big debate amongst rabbis about how we should take midrashim. Should we take them literally? Should we take them seriously, but not literally? He takes them very literally. However, he's very discerning about the language and say, well, this medrash is extremely literal, but the wording here is a little off, and he'll say this is the correct version. So his halachas were very widely accepted. As we said, many of his other commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch comment on his rulings. They disagree with his rulings. They'll agree with his rulings. They'll say that we have to follow his rulings, and we have to take his rulings very seriously. At the same time, like we said, he did not really approve of the Shulchan Aruch, something that did not really last. One of his probably most famous, his famous descendant is his son-in-law, is Rabbi, which we'll talk about next time, God willing, Rabbi David Halevi, also known as the Taz. We'll talk about next time, but he quotes him extensively. Many times will say, my teacher and my father-in-law, and he'll quote him, and then he'll disagree with him, and he'll argue with him. Usually says of blessed memory, which means that he probably wrote it after his father-in-law passed away, but it seems that he did study under his father-in-law. So when you open a tour, on the binding side of the page will always be the Beis Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo's commentary, and on the margin side of the page will always be the Bach. So it's something that is studied till today, and a very important Ashkenazi Jewish commentator, and really helped develop Ashkenazi halacha, and becomes the basis and the jumping off point for many of the commentaries of the next generation. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comments below. If you think I made a mistake or something I should have said or could have said, please let me know. Would be happy to discuss. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.